You and I need to talk. Easy, Hood. Don't tell me easy. Hey! Don't tell me easy.
Stop being a dick!
These videos are satiric reviews. You don't have to agree, but don't bitch about it.
Hey there, I'm social injustice warrior Infuso. And have you ever heard of the two-man power trip? I'm sure there are some of you out there who have, but there's others whose only inclination as to what I'm talking about is the thumbnail for this video. And wow, that was a lot of words! Stone Cold Steve Austin was the face of a generation, not just synonymous with wrestling at the time, but with pop culture in general. You couldn't enter a public area without seeing someone wearing an Austin 316 shirt. They were everywhere. He was beloved by wrestling fans worldwide for having the balls to do what everyone wished they could: flip off their boss. Continually, while still collecting a paycheck. He was the mortal enemy of the WWF chairman Vince McMahon, who, despite their mutual hatred, he could never fire him because he was making so much money off him. Not that that would stop Vince from firing someone nowadays, but as many would tell you, the Attitude Era was a very different time. Well, hell would freeze over after years of feuding and fighting. The two would shake hands, and the redneck rebel would join forces with the maniacal McMahon.
Stone Cold is shaking hands. We're saving this town.
At WrestleMania 17, or X-Seven for you little badasses out there, Stone Cold took on The Rock for the WWF Championship in the main event. It was a match which would see two fan favorites duke it out on the grandest stage of them all. All of a sudden, unannounced, Vince would make his way down to the ring, for reasons unknown, at least at first. He'd eventually hand a chair over to Austin, who would proceed to show no mercy, unloading chair shots on the People's Champ, turning the Stone Cold character heel for the first time. Or, well, for the first time successfully, at least. People everywhere demanded to know why Austin would align himself with McMahon. Or vice versa. And one of those people was none other than the boss's son-in-law, Triple H.
My father-in-law. I mean the man that hid this whole kissy thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin from me. I mean the man that screwed me. Ha! Gay! You and I need to talk. What the hell is going on around here, huh? You want to let me not know what's going on when stuff like this God! And your t-shirts are too tight too, Billy!
Not getting a real answer and being insulted by his wife's dad, Triple H would of course interfere in Austin's rematch with Rocky Maivia, aiding the Texas Rattlesnake. The two would team together, becoming known as the two-man power trip, or for a very, very brief time, the McMahon Alliance. And that's a really questionable decision on HHH's part, because not only did these two feud continually, not only did Triple H actually orchestrate a hit on Austin, having Rikishi of all people try to run him over.
I did it for The Rock.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty!
But earlier that same year, Austin and Trips would reluctantly team up, and the end result wasn't all that favorable. Yeah, I don't know, H. I don't know. I mean, I like NXT and all, but now I'm really starting to question your decision-making process.
Big swing and a miss. Yeah.
Now, the storyline reasons for Austin teaming with H are probably about as apparent as the reasons why he'd be teaming with McMahon. But in real life, Austin actually requested that he team with Try because he was afraid the crowd wouldn't want to boo him. This becomes even more apparent when taking a look back at what would happen in the following weeks, as it seemed that Austin would do anything to get cheap heat, including brutalizing Lita with a steel chair, and beating down longtime friend and the heart of the WWF, commentator Jim Ross.
You want to punch me, hillbilly boy, right here in your hometown? Take your best swing at Stone Cold, your old best friend.
Wait a minute! What the hell is Austin doing?
Get in!
This is Austin's wearing him out! Jim Austin, and now he's got the belt off!
Austin ain't stopping. He's gonna choke him out. He's busting him open. This is sickening, man.
Come on, man, he was your friend. He practically orgasmed every time he came to the ring. Why would you do it, Austin? Why would you do it? Have you ever been to a party where someone was going out of their way to be the center of attention, doing everything they could to be liked? Okay, well, this is the exact opposite of that. Austin was doing anything and everything to get these people to boo him. He was practically getting on his hands and knees and begging the audience to hate him.
You see? That's what I like to hear. I don't want you people to cheer me. I don't want you to like me. I want you to hate me. Because the more you hate me, the stronger I get. I want you all to hate me. I will get on my knees and I will beg right now for all of you to hate me.
Around this time, Triple H would win the Intercontinental Championship, while Austin was still reigning as the company's top champion, only further fueling their power trip. They would then go on to feud with the Brothers of Destruction, the team of Kane and The Undertaker, who just so happened to be the reigning WWF Tag Team Champions at the time. It was eventually decided they'd have a tag team match that saw every title the two teams owned being put up for grabs, which, by the way, was every major championship in the company at the time. It couldn't get any bigger than this. 4 of the top names in the industry competing for 4 of the most coveted titles in the company. So of course, the match was a total disappointment. The Power Trip, or the McMahon Alliance, would win the match and win the titles along with it. That wasn't the disappointing part. The match itself was just very punch-kicky, you know? Nothing really significant happened, just punches and kicks. Great. That's what I'd main event a pay-per-view with. No, guys. Don't bother putting in more effort. I mean, this is only the main event to the pay-per-view, and all 4 of you are some of the biggest stars in the company at the time, but no. You do you. You're doing great.
I'm not great at the advice. Can I interest you in a sarcastic comment?
Their feud would continue in a pretty confusing manner, so allow me to quickly read out what would happen following the brothers' loss. An injured Kane was scheduled to take on Stone Cold, but the decision would be revoked and Taker would get the match instead. Before the match, Stone Cold and Trips would go out of their way to beat down Kane, further aggravating his injury. Taker interfered in a match between Triple H and Jeff Hardy for the Intercontinental title, throwing Try through a glass window.
Alright, my name is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I shouldn't be here.
An ambulance would arrive on scene, only to reveal it was being driven by none other than The Undertaker, which apparently is a reoccurring thing.
Where to, Stephanie?
Buckle up, Teddy.
Hell, boys!
Taker would beat both members of the Power Trip in a handicap match. Taker would then beat both members of the Power Trip in a handicap match. A match which had Austin's title on the line. And despite his win, he still didn't get the belt as he pinned the wrong man. And who made that call? That's a rule? That's how that works? It's news to me. Rikishi, who somehow became involved in all this, would face Austin. He'd lose, but still end the night by stink-facing the boss's daughter. And wow, that's a whole lot of ass on such a small girl. That sentence actually sounded worse than when I wrote it. Kane returned to join his brother in trying to take back the tag team titles. Before the match, Taker was informed that his at-the-time wife, Sarah, was involved in a serious car accident. Being the great husband that he was, he would leave the arena to stand by her side, leaving Kane to take on both men on his own, in a losing effort, with Austin eventually revealing his ruse and stating that Sarah was fine.
I got a feeling your little wife is gonna be just fine. I got a feeling.
The following SmackDown, Taker would return, threaten Stone Cold, who cowered, telling him that Triple H was the one who called the police.
You know why I didn't whip his ass? Because you were right there, and I ain't gonna put my wife in jeopardy. That's why I didn't whip his ass.
Taker would confront the boss's daughter's baby daddy, who denied this, placing blame back onto the substantially less cold Stone Cold, stating that it was him who called them off of Triple H's cell phone. And I haven't heard cell phones be brought up this much in a storyline since that time Kevin Nash texted himself to attack Punk, also from Triple H's cell phone. And dude, hey, you're a boss now, okay, man? Maybe put a lock on it. There's such thing as passcodes. Stone Cold would later admit that he was the one who made the call, and no one gave a damn. Because you can't get cell phone calls or text messages over in wrestling. No one cares. At that year's Judgment Day, Austin would interfere in Hunter's match with the Big Red Machine, accidentally costing him the title. And later, Triple H would return the favor by helping Austin retain his title against Big Evil. The following Raw would see the two-man power trip take on the Two Chris's, which sounds like a sitcom that I would not watch. the team of Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit, with the tag team titles on the line. The match was nothing to sneeze at, as it showcased the talents of all men involved. Everyone left looking good in this match. But you know what didn't look so good in this match? Triple H's quads.
Pop, and it, that felt like electricity went up my leg, and I guess that was it tearing.
Because during this match, he tore his left quadricep, but still went through with the rest of the match. Because as stated earlier, the Attitude Era was a very different time. The match would see the team lose the belts in a match that the WWE says never happened, for obvious reasons. The next night, the team would break up, with Austin berating Triple H for losing the tag team titles.
I'm no longer part of the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions. It's because of one man, Triple H. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H ain't the World Tag Team Champions no more. That meant the end of an era.
Which was probably fine with the game because he really needed to nurse that injury, so no sweat off his brow. Austin's alliance with Triple H might have been terminated, but his friendship with McMahon would continue, deciding to carry out his feud with Benoit and Jericho on his own, eventually being joined by Vince's boy, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle. They wouldn't be known as the two-man power trip, but he was definitely Triple H's replacement. I can't remember seeing the two together in actual wrestling matches, but I will never forget the promos they had behind the scenes competing for Vince's affection.
Hey guys, how's this look? I feel like a real cowboy. Yippee-ki-yay!
Austin would leave Vince and become the leader of the Alliance, with him eventually converting Angle to join the team as well. But the less said about that angle, the better. No pun intended. Austin and H would have a one-night-only reunion the following year, when they teamed back up, now as faces, against Kurt Angle and Booker T. But their story would end there. Unfortunately, not with a bang, but with a whimper. Like my video on the Radicals, it's strange for me to go back and take a look at what undoubtedly should have been a much more successful stable. I mean, they had the star power of one of, if not the most recognizable man in the business in Stone Cold Steve Austin. The most hated heel, the boss everybody hated, in Vince McMahon. And the rising star Triple H, who's really just starting to come into his own as the company's new big bad.
Oh, it's true! It's damn true!
Despite the team once carrying every major title in the company, it's surprisingly hard to consider them a success. In the long run of both Austin and Triple H's careers, this run is almost entirely forgotten. It wasn't exactly lengthy, and they really only teamed for a short amount of time, mainly due to some bad luck on the Cerebral Assassin's part, but there's no denying that for the short window of time, they made an impact on the company. I, for one, think they had surprisingly good chemistry as a team, but ultimately made for better enemies. It would have been nice to see them stick around as a unit for a little bit longer, though it's hard to think of what you could do with them after having them win every accolade they could so early into their run. So with that being said, I'm the Social Injustice Warrior V Infuso, and if you like the words that came out of my mouth hole and you too want to become a VTard, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more where this video came from. Follow me on Twitter because, hell, why not? It's not considered stalking if it's on the internet, am I right? And don't forget to join the Discord. I don't have anything catchy to add to that, but just join it. Just go do it. And if you have a free moment of time and a free $1 to spare, then head over to my Patreon, where for just $1, you too could help keep this boat afloat. And if you don't have that $1, but you do have a free moment of time, then hit the share button. It will help me out tremendously.
VTards, oh.